Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. This is Nigeria Now on Equa Television International. And, we are doing this every Monday to Friday, same time, same station, where we draw our light to issues that are really burning. Let's put it that way, when it comes to news and what is happening in the country, and we try and look at people's interests, and we bring it out and we dilute it, break it to smaller particles that people there can't relate. And also, we give people opportunity because we are live on Facebook and YouTube, so that they could just say their mind concerning what we are discussing. So, like always, the show is yours. So together we do it. And in the studio, my regular co-host, Joy Jakada.
Always a pleasure. A pleasant afternoon to you, Sabo Solomon.
Yes.
Good afternoon to our viewers out there.
Good afternoon. Yeah, like a build-up to yesterday's topic, we talked about issues that are coming up after election. But this time around, I think Nigerians are so concerned from the response of INEC, during their defense in the presidential tribunal, telling the court that Tinubu actually won the poll. And it became an issue where Nigerians are reacting. And the question they are asking, where, how?
Well, just after the announcement and then declaration of the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu as winner of the 2023 presidential election, you agree with me that there were a lot of reactions coming from political parties, flag bearers, among others. You will recall that during the coalition, we saw how that a party agent of PDP, talking about Dino Melaye, got up and said they cannot continue. Mr. Chairman, talking about the chairman of the INEC, cannot continue with the coalition like that because it is against the Electoral Act, saying that going by the provision of the Electoral Act 2022, there should be electronic transmission of results and people should be able to have access to it in real time. That's according to the provision of the Electoral Act of 2022. But against that, we saw manual collation, more like what has been happening, and people were asking the question, so where's the place of the introduction of the technology that was supposed to redefine the whole process, was supposed to fight what was supposed to serve as an antidote to the rigging that Nigerians have always expressed concern over when election actually comes like that. And because of some of these irregularities, and then you know how that at some of the polling units, going by observation, some beavers feel that the February 25th election, there are issues of failures of beavers, operational failures, among other things, lack of turnout by INEC officials in time, and people not having access to the IREF or even being able to view results. There are also issues of result being like stipends used on some of the results and all of that. So people raise a lot of concern about the irregularities. There are a lot of talk about, oh, people did not turn out, and this is one of the elections that witnessed high turnout of voters. So that's why a lot of people decided to give it to Nigerians for actually turning out. But looking at some of the irregularities that played out, and even violence that was witnessed in some of the states, and even some politicians playing ethnic cards, among others, and people raised a lot of concern. Immediately after the announcement was actually made, we saw how that people were saying, no, INEC went against his word. You said that going by the provision, the winner must at least have 25%, even in the FCT. And people highlighted the fact that, no, Bola Ahmed Tinubu just got about 18% at the FCT and not 25%. So why is he being declared winner? This is one of the elections that, you agree with me, is really historic, and one of the election that we saw how that everybody was up and about. Like, people were really eager to see the outcome of this whole election. But again, after the announcement, some people pointed out to some of the irregularities, and as Constitution provides you can go to the tribunal, and we saw how that about 10 political parties have signed petition, and then some of the aggrieved parties, individuals have gone toward the part of court. At some time we saw how that PDP supporters protested, being led by even the presidential candidates in Abuja, saying that no, this mandate, it is ours. The PDP won the election and they should be declared. We saw also that some supporters of Tinubu too came out to say that no, this election is actually free, fair and credible. And so the mandate is for Tinubu and it should be maintained. We saw how that he came out after being declared or announced winner, saying, oh, I'm extending olive branch. You can come so that we'll build Nigeria together. He spoke about healing. People say, how do you want people to heal when you don't address the problem? So all these were things that were witnessed and still witnessing, talking about the post-election. And then today we are seeing INEC saying, oh, the court should take note of this. Tinubu actually won the election. So the commission is saying the All Progressive Congress, APC's candidate, met all the legal requirements, and that is why he was actually announced the winner. And he also argued that a candidate must not score 25% in the AFCT to be declared winner. He doesn't have to. And he also said that on why Tinubu returned as the winner, INEC said APC scored 25% of valid vote cast in 29 states of the federation. INEC added that by the margin of the lead, it did not act hastily, because a lot of people say, oh, you actually acted hastily by announcing Tinubu. You didn't look out, like you ignored all the observations that was made and all of that. But INEC is saying that no, going by the margin of the lead, it did not act hastily as claimed by Atiku and then other candidates in declaring Tinubu the winner. It says that he noted that Tinubu scored 25% of valid vote cast in 29 states, and he mentioned the states Ekiti, Kwara, Osun, Ondo, Ogun, Oyo, Yobe, Jigawa, Nasarawa, Katsina, Adamawa, Gombe, Benue, Akwa Ibom, Edo, Kogi, Bauchi, Plateau, Bayelsa, Kaduna, Kebbi, Kano, Zamfara, Sokoto, Taraba, Borno, and Rivers State. That for all of these states, Tinubu actually got 25%, and he added, like I said earlier on, you don't have to have that 25% in the FCT. And he said beyond the country's capital, there's no special constitutional status over and above the other 36 states. And he said FCT, being the country's capital, has no special constitutional status. Because I think a lot of political critics, a lot of aggrieved party that spoke, even some of the senior advocates of Nigeria say, oh, this is the provision in the constitution, and then why is INEC going against the Electoral Act and all of that? But he said there's no special status that is being given to the FCT above the 36 states of the Federation that would require that a candidate must have to 25% of votes from that particular, like the nation's capital, before that person will be declared the winner. So on that basis, going by the Tinubu actually got about 25% in about 9 states, and having the highest vote, and he's actually the winner. And that was what INEC did. And he said Atiku did not meet the conditions to win the presidential pool, and that's what INEC also told the court. And he said Obi's petition also against Tinubu is incompetent. That is INEC trying to defend itself as well, because you recall we spoke about the fact that, oh, definitely INEC will have to come out to defend itself, because people are already pointing out to a lot of irregularity. So they said the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, talking about Atiku Abubakar, did not meet the constitutional requirement to be declared winner of the February 25th election. And you will recall that one of the stakeholders in Nigeria spoke about the fact that, oh, if Atiku is saying, I won the election, Obi is saying, no, I won the election, one person must be lying. Because at the end of the day, one person must emerge. You know, so they are saying that going by constitutional requirements, Atiku did not meet that, and they are urging the Presidential Election Tribunal to dismiss the petition by Atiku and his party, because he failed. He didn't score even 1/4 of the votes cast in the election, so he cannot be declared the winner. and same thing was said that the petition that Obi actually signed to, as well, lack merit, actually incompetent. And I was asking myself, okay, what was actually the petition signed by Obi? He talked about the fact that, oh, this election was marred by rigging. And then, the presidential candidate of Labour Party saying, going by everything that what we saw playing out, they have their agent cut across the polling units in Nigeria. They actually have the highest score and they should be declared winner. But so much around the petition and then the response.
Yeah, he also talked about the issue of the president-elect not even eligible, to even contest in the first place based on his alleged drug case, for forfeiting that large amount of dollars, and then which they are alleging that is it definitely must come from illicit transaction. And then because this is one of the prayers, that they are asking, based on that, he's not qualified, then he should be disqualified. And then they mention about the irregularities, the numbers not really tallying. And then he mentioned few states which he feels, they won there outrightly, because like you rightly said, they have their own agents that are there. So he's saying they should revisit that and then calculate and then give them their mandate, add up whatever the outcome, to what they have now and declare them the winner, or they should cancel the whole thing. But definitely, with this petition, if you remember in this particular show, we talked about when INEC budgeting 3 billion, to defend herself, in court, simply because of the cases that that came up, from after the general election. And then we said, okay, if INEC is spending that 3 billion, we think based on the irregularities that we saw, Nigerians are saying we don't need that amount to really spend to defend anything that you're supposed to do right, because you gave us assurances that you're going to, all of these things that you say is going to work, and that is why you asked for this particular budget, and you went and you defend and you say this thing is workable. And then at the end of the day, this is what we saw. And then they added and they said that they are insisting that Tinubu won because they declare him as a winner because based on the compliance, of the Constitution and the Electoral Act 2022, that based on that, and then INEC regulations, and that is why regulations and guidelines, and that is why they declare him as a winner. That doing that did not, counter or did not go out of this particular Electoral Act and then INEC guidelines and regulations. And I was wondering, I said, with the complaints of Nigeria, INEC is saying this.
Sambo Solomon, like I will always maintain, if the system is transparent, if everything was done, like if Nigerians had access to everything, like the result, if everything was done as stipulated, even by the Electoral Act, I don't think questions will be coming up like that. So I think that we need to get to that point where we will have confidence even in the system. Like in other climes, elections are conducted, you hardly hear all of this. It's not like the whole election process is without challenges, but some of the issues that are being raised out, we had international observers as well as domestic observers. A lot of, in fact, so many of them pointed to the operational failures by INEC, and these were things that people expected that before this election must have been put in place. Like, how can you spend over 300 billion naira only to come and tell people, oh, the beavers are malfunctioning? How can you be announcing results when some results from polling units are yet to be scanned, uploaded on the IREF, but yet announcement was already made. We spoke about the fact that one of the irregularities that was noted is the fact that you see at some places the numbers of the voters is more than the accredited. And you know that going by the Electoral Act, that is supposed to, is like, it means that that election should be cancelled. Why are we having that? And some of these observations were made, but still INEC went ahead with the announcement. But, well, like we've always maintained, the judiciary should know now that the democracy of the nation, a lot of people are looking up to them to uphold truth, to uphold justice, to uphold integrity. People are saying, see, if you don't protect the interests of the people against the interests of some individuals, then you further rubbish the democracy that in courts that we're actually practicing. Some people will tell you, oh, we only have it on paper, that, but because of how that we've seen the attitude of some of these politicians, they make elections to be do or die affairs. Like, if I don't get it, then nobody can get it. And no wonder you see some of these politicians going out to campaign with guns. We've seen how that some politicians were killed before and even during the election. Why? Because some people feel, oh, it is my turn and I must have it. So there are issues of rigging, violence, and all of that. But if INEC had gone the part of the Electoral Act, if INEC made everything transparent, think about it when results from polling units are transmitted in real time. When people fail, they will go down honorably because they don't know the people, they don't want me to actually represent them at this point. When people can see glaringly that, oh, no, I didn't win this election, they will go down. And then when people see that, oh, I've won, then the process that brought me should be excellent. So I think beyond coming out to say that, oh, this particular person won, well, INEC is just trying to defend itself, and that's what you expect. Of course, earlier we saw how that they budgeted some amount of money, I think about 3 billion.
3 billion. Yes,
for the defense of all these electoral cases. And of course, you expect that their legal team will do that. But beyond technicalities, we want to see the interests of Nigerians being protected. We want to see Nigeria as a whole being at the forefront. We want to see us prioritizing the whole nation against an individual interest. Because if we continue on a trajectory that is not right, then we will not go anywhere.
We will not get it right.
We will not get it right. So we must do the needful. Justice must be served. We can't talk about healing without justice. So if there is a wound, we must identify what caused it, so that will bring an, because we cannot just have a wound and just say, try to look away that no, there's nothing, like nothing happened. So we must ensure that justice is being serviced. And if INEC are saying, oh, Tinubu won the election, bring out your evidence, clearly stated beyond every doubt. Let people see that, yes, the process that brought the president-elect was free, fair, transparent, and credible. So we don't have a system where the citizens are aggrieved and unhappy, and then we see that, oh, somebody is leading and not having the support of the people. Because as a leader, you always need the support of the led. You think about it, where you are coming up with policies and people are going against the policy. You'll just be stagnated. You'll be frustrated. So let's see a system where beyond just coming out to say, oh, this person won, let the people see evidence that will back it. I think that's what law is all about. And when people see it, they will know that actually, yes, this person won. Oh, he deserves all their support and everything. We know that election is more like a game. Definitely there will be winner and there will be loser. But our concern is that whoever emerged winner should be. It should be where you're coming, you're leading in a system or in a process. Let's see that the process that brought you to power is right and excellent.
Excellent.
That way you'll be able to serve the interests of the people. But when you fight your way to get into position, then at the end of the day, you fight to protect your own interests. So let's ensure that we will look at the general interest of Nigeria and do the needful.
Yeah, you see, talking about general interest, you know, and then the way the politicians are even hitting the polity, do you think is healthy for us? Because I really foresee danger, because you remember Bishop Matthew Kuka, you know, his Easter message, well, he addressed so many things, you know, from the religious angle of it, and then to the issue of patriotism when it comes to the country, you know, what he feels that we should do as citizens, as youth, and as leaders, you know, and then Yeah, he talked about issue of justice. He talked about even the judiciary, that now, okay, the beam light is being shifted, you know, from the general political arena now to that particular arm of government. Now Nigerians are looking up to them, like you rightly said, you know, their hope. Nigerians, their hope now is in the judiciary, and they are expecting beyond logic, beyond technicalities, you know, can they just, you know, bend themselves, you know, and then give Nigerians the true interpretation of what happened? Because anything now you said, they will tell you you're not a learned colleague. The issue is in the court. You can't say beyond this. But I see politicians saying some kind of comment that even it's adding up a pressure to even the judiciary, which I feel is not, personally, I feel it's not healthy for the country. Because someone was saying no amount of power can change this. I said, is it that already they have discussed with the judiciary that nothing can be overturned?
You see, one of the spokesperson of the Presidential Campaign Council of the APC, Festus Keyamo, we saw how that some weeks back he was preempting even the court. He said that the petition signed filed by PDP and its presidential candidate was going to be dismissed. And of course, we know that these issues it was already in the court, and him coming out to talk like that is him like preempting the court, and it was something that people least expected of a senior advocate. You get. So I think that talking about politicians hitting the polity, we have seen that. We have seen that, and that's why we continue to urge Nigerians, don't allow yourself to be used as tool to further bring down this nation, because at the end of the day, these people have one voice. We saw it in Kano, how during the wedding of the president's son, all of these people that we keep seeing in media, insulting themselves, counterclaims and all of that, we're shaking hands and all of that. You allow yourself to be used, at the end of the day, it's going to be to your detriment, because nobody's going to come and protect you. At the end of the day, you're suffering without any dividend of democracy that they always used to speak. That has become a cliche. Oh, when you give us this position, we're going to do this with you, for you and that. Just when you elect them, they forget about your existence. These people come and give you 5,000, 10,000, go and cause chaos. You will go and do it. At the end of the day, you are being killed. We saw how that one of the thug in Lagos was shot dead. And I was asking myself, so what happened? Maybe they've not, the people that asked you to go and do that have not even paid you anything. They just say, go and execute it, after that we'll pay you. And then he died in the process. So whether you like it or not, for the sake of power, how that some of these people are desperate for power. It was yesterday that we saw one of the national chairman of the APC, North East, talking about Dr. Lukman, was saying that even before ahead of the 10th National Assembly, that some people are already bribing top officials. Because when you look at numbers, APC have advantage at the 10th National Assembly.
Yes.
And of course, the majority that will determine who becomes the Senate president. Already campaigns are ongoing, even though people will not come out clearly. But we've seen how that Uzo Kalu have said, oh, it is my turn. We've seen how that the northern leaders are saying, can we just disregard the issue of zoning and all of that? So
what happens to the federal character?
He's already alleging that, there are people that are already bribing top officials. Beyond that, there are people that are giving money and even giving jeep if you're going to support me. There are people that are going with bags of rice and sugar and all of that. And you ask, on what ground? Somebody, this morning we saw how that someone was saying that, the president-elect will determine who becomes the Senate president. And I just keep asking myself the question, if the president-elect would determine, going by, politics is about this and that, somebody says it's a game of consensus and compromise, but how many people are ready to compromise? How many people are ready and willing to come to the point of consensus? So if the Senate president is going to be determined by the president-elect, then of course, what kind of National Assembly would you expect? A yes sir, National Assembly. It's not going to be about the people.
What did you expect? We saw that playing, 2015, when we saw the emergence of the current president. You know how the politics, played out, how Lawan came on board, the back and forth, how Bajabia Mila, fought his way, and then because he wasn't the favorite, but at the end of the day, he emerges. But but we saw those fracas, we saw how the president played the role, and then Lawrence emerged, and then still, he maintained the leadership up under some certain.
It's politics, Sambo
yeah.
You can't take that away, and that is why some politicians or political critics will tell you that if as much as APC have the number,
the number
10th National Assembly, it will take their leader now, talking about the president-elect, to call them to come to consensus and even compromise, and to ensure that in all fairness, there is actually representation. Because already number 1 seat, number 2, and then Muslim. And you know how that a lot of other people felt, oh, you actually disregarded us and all of that. So in all fairness, can you consider this and that beyond personal interest? So I think in all fairness, you talked about hitting the polity. Whether we like it or not, politicians will continue on that trajectory for the sake of power. But beyond personal interest, can we take some minute and think about Nigeria?
Thank you, Joyce, for doing this with me today. And for the viewer, we sincerely appreciate you for giving us your time. And then we want you to keep sending your comment, on the issues we are discussing. Let's hear your view also. That will also help us, even as we continue to build on these discussions and then see what is really trending in the country. Thank you so much, and we pray that Lord will continue to put the nation first, the nation's interest. So we plead with the politicians, from wherever you're coming, whatever your religion, just know that you are first a Nigerian before choosing your religion. And God did not make mistake to make you a leader at this time. Let's see this drive of a leader. Inject this change that Nigerians are looking for. And for us, the followers, let's do the right thing. Thank you, and let's do this tomorrow. Same station, same time. Bye-bye, and God bless you.